Good afternoon, folks. My name is Jim Green. I'm from MacDoc Realty in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Just wanted to talk to you a few minutes about some things that I've been getting a lot of questions about lately from clients that are talking about how should I pick an agent when I get ready to list my house, and what are the things that I should really plan on seeing in that house buying process. If you'll bear with me a few minutes, I got some slides that I want to show you, and then at the end I'm going to wrap it up and I'll talk to you a little bit at the end about how I'd like to be able to list your house. Okay, so here we go, folks. Let's start on your journey as far as selling your house goes, or listing your house in this case. Now, I'm just going to start off with a little legal stuff. We're going to talk about a disclaimer. Everything in here I've taken and I've looked at, and I think it's pretty good information, but the information contained herein is based and obtained upon sources that I've deemed reliable, but cannot guarantee everything as far as its accuracy goes. Any information of special interest should be obtained through an independent verification, meaning you need to get a realtor, somebody to help you out, somebody to guide you through this process. Now, another thing I want to say, this video may be about 20-25 minutes long. I know, everybody's sort of like 25 minutes long, how could it be that long? But I'm going to tell you something, if you're selling your house and you want to have a general roadmap on how to get there, I think that it's going to be well worth your while. Okay, pick a realtor. Get somebody you can trust, okay? You want to find somebody that actually understands the markets out there and somebody that you can put the most expensive transaction that you're probably doing in your life in their hands to help you out. Ask them the following questions. What's your credentials? Okay, my credentials is I'm a Commonwealth of Virginia licensed realtor, meaning that I can sell commercial, I can sell residential, I can sell land, I can do anything in the Commonwealth of Virginia as far as selling property goes because I work for a broker. All salespeople, all sales representatives as far as realtors go in the Commonwealth of Virginia work for a broker. So that's my first qualification. My second qualification is I'm a military relocation professional. And what that means is I've gone to school, taken extra classes and stuff to figure out the best way to market and to help facilitate the moving and buying a house as far as military members when they're getting ready to do permanent change of station and looking to buy a house. Other things could be they specialize and they want to only work with buyers. They only want to work with sellers, things like that. Different specialties inside the realtor industry, which would point out that they're on top of their game. What areas do you cover? Well, for instance, I know that I cover a pretty good swath of land here in Virginia, and I'll go anywhere from Stafford County, Spotsylvania, Westmoreland, King George, Caroline, Culpeper, or anywhere from Quantico, Virginia, the Marine Base, down to Montrose, Virginia, and out west, as far as from Fredericksburg goes, to Culpeper. Pretty good chunk of land, but I'm pretty familiar with those areas and I feel comfortable with them, so I like working with those houses in that area. How do they do a competitive market analysis? A comparative market analysis, and I'll get to that in a moment. It's probably one of the bigger parts as far as the actual transaction goes. It's the foundation of how we're going to price your house. Who's on the team? I have a team. My wife and I, we're a team. We're the Green Team. You can find us on Facebook. And sort of like she works with me on jobs, I work with her on jobs, and it's kind of like you get the best of both realtors in one package in our case as far as our team goes. Both of us do our own stuff though. And then you have transaction coordinators. Those are people that are not necessarily realtors that sit there and do the administrative paper pushing. You'll run into those types of people from time to time too. How much it cost? 10%, okay? That just break it down easy. $200,000 house is going to cost you $20,000 to sell that house. Now that's a general rule of thumb and takes into account things like closing costs, which I'll get into in a moment. Okay, how am I going to market my house? Okay, how am I going to market your house is what I'm really saying. I'm going to use, and what kind of selling plan do I have? I'm going to use the multiple listing service, which is a network-centric realty internet portal. And I'm going to use that to put that information out on Zillow, out on Trulia, out on HomeSnap. Now, I also do some other things myself. I market a lot. I do paid advertisements on Facebook. I also turn around and I use local things that are free, like Nextdoor. Nextdoor is great to get the information out to the area right around the property that we're trying to sell. Okay, a couple more questions you might want to ask a realtor. How do you communicate? Okay, how do you want me to communicate? It's the real question that I ask my clients. How do you want me to talk to you? Are you a person that doesn't want to get voicemails and talk verbally back and forth on your cell phone or on your phone, on your home line? Do you love just texting back and forth? If you do, that's what I'll do. I'll text. I'll just text only. How often do you want me to talk to you? Do you want me to talk to you weekly, which is what I prefer to do, because then I can give you updates on what we've had as far as showings go, any information coming back from the prospective buyers that are coming into your property, so that we maybe tweak a few things here and there while we're going along to make the house even more presentable than it is, than it has been. So that's really your call. How do you want me to talk to you? How long is it going to take to sell my house? Okay. That's probably one of the first questions. Hey, how quick can you sell my house? Well, I have to take a look at some stuff. Certain areas, houses sell really fast. 3 weeks on the market, 21 days on market. That's at DOM, days on market. Well, I could probably tell you, I think we can sell this house in a month. And it's an average. Or I might go into an area that doesn't have as much buying going on at this point, time frame. And it might be 100 days on market. So if, for instance, your grand plan was you need to be out of that house in 45 days, moving on to your next one, we've got to take a look at some things if you're in that 100-day market. And probably the best way to sell at that point would be at a reduced type of price if you have the ability to do that. Now, going along that line, what's the plan? Because everybody needs a plan. Okay, Mr. or Mrs. Realtor, what's your plan as far as selling your house? Well, what I like to do is preload my clients with information. Like if we're not getting bites and we're not getting visits or anything in that first couple of weeks, I know something's wrong. Either it's not getting out on Zillow, or I didn't put it up right as far as the multiple listing system, or something didn't go right out there, or the price is just way too high. Those types of things. So we've got to take it at that point, tweak it a little bit, calibrate it, and dial it in so that we can get those prospective buyers coming through that door. And further on, what if we're after a month, and what do we do at 45 days? And sort of give a glide scope as far as price goes compared to time on market to be able to sell it to meet your expectations. Okay. Now let's say that you asked those questions. You found the perfect realtor. Jim Green. Okay. Now, you found the perfect realtor. I'm going to sit down with you and we're going to do a contract between you and my broker, because I work for my broker, like I said in the beginning. So the contract's between you and my broker, detailing the broker's responsibilities, what I'm supposed to be doing as far as selling your house goes, and the commission fees. Okay? How much. And that plays into the how much is my house going to cost to sell it. And any other things that we might want to put in the listing agreement that you need me to do as far as, or you want me to do as far as selling that house goes. Then we're going to do a seller disclosure. Commonwealth of Virginia. Commonwealth of Virginia is what we call a buyer beware state / Commonwealth. And what we mean by that is if there's something maybe not right with your house, you don't have to tell anybody, okay? You really don't have to say anything is wrong with your house at all. And so that's why we do a seller disclosure, and it's just a legal document saying, hey, guess what? You came and saw my house. I don't have to tell you anything about the house. It's sort of like taking your Fifth Amendment on the house. Okay. Now, lead-based paint. Anything that's built before 1978, guess what? You got lead-based paint in there probably, not possibly, probably, because we used lead-based paint back in the day. Environmental Protection Agency says that that's not a good thing, as well as we know it's not a good thing. So any house that was built before 1978, we have to sign an addendum that says we are not sure whether it's got lead-based in there or not. Okay, I was talking about comparative market analysis, okay? And the comparative market analysis, oh, I got a misspelling up there. Whatever. Okay, that's cool. Here's what we do as far as comparative market analysis goes. Understand that comparative market analysis helps as far as establishing the listing price. This price will affect the expected time frame as far as sales goes. If you come in and you have a $200,000 house, but you want to get $230,000 out of it, guess what? It's probably going to sit on the market a long time, okay? And we want to take into account when we do a comparative market analysis the other houses in the area, come up with a price that's competitive with them. Know the opposition and be able to fight it out with them as far as price goes in the long run so that your house sells before them. Here's how we do it. We compare your homes to other homes in the same subdivision, preferably. If we're in a rural area, that makes it a little bit harder. We got a little bit more creative there. We want to take houses that have sold in the last 6 months, okay? 6 months. Because that's the rod is hot type of information. The information's good, okay? Something that sold 3 years ago, I really don't care about that because that's not the market today or even close to the market today. So houses that sold within the last 6 months. Homes are built around the same time frame. Outstanding. If I can find houses that are built around their same time frame in that subdivision, that's a great way to do a comparative market analysis because now I've got like homes and everything, like the same amount of bedrooms, the same amount of bathrooms, it's the same model, all that type of stuff that I can use to come up with that comparative market analysis of properties that have sold in the last 6 months. Now, how many bedrooms, how many baths, we want to compare that. We also, at that point, we'll take a look at the tax records just to make sure that the tax records match up with what we're going to list it as, and that's just more of an administrative type of function. And then is the basement finished or unfinished, okay? The reason that I put that up there is because sometimes people, get that Christmas bonus and decide, hey, I want to finish my basement, head to Lowe's, get all kinds of drywall, nails, all that kind of stuff, and finish up their basement and say, boom, this is now a bedroom, okay? Well, it doesn't quite work that way. You've got to have it to code, which means that you had to have permits on it, and that's why I take a look at the tax records on that case to make sure that we're all legal and flying right. Okay, now, get ready for that sale. We've done the administrative stuff. We've done the paperwork. We're in that part. So now the heavy lifting starts, and this is where the client, okay, is their own friend. Clean, 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 clean. Clean, just like ship shape type of clean. Because really what you need to do is you need to think of yourself as that client coming into your house. What do you want to do? You want to have something that smells good. You want to have something that's bright. So we want to get the lights turned on. We want to get the curtains up. We want to do all that type of stuff. And we want the place to be clutter-free. And if that means that you have to go rent storage for a little while to put stuff away, believe me, it pays off as far as being able to present that house in its best light. Okay, if you're painting, pick neutral colors. That's all I can tell you. This is not the time for purple and fuchsia, okay? Go with neutral colors, just like you'd see in a model home for a new construction type of builder. And that's actually not a bad idea. Go take a look at a model home, see what the colors are, because they use the latest colors that the home interior decorators come up with. They tell them what the colors should be. Okay, get repairs done. Now, the repairs, what I'm talking about is make sure that the gutter that's loose and stuff, we get that fixed. Vent covers on top of the vents, on top of the house, make sure that they're on there. Make sure that the dryer exhaust vent has a screen on the outside of it, because these are things that in the long run, when they come and do a home inspection on your house, they're going to take a look at it and write that up. Well, they're going to want you to fix that. Well, it's easy to fix it now, and you can fix it on a Saturday afternoon by yourself with the help from a buddy. Didn't cost you too much. They might, with the home inspection, say, I want it fixed by a Class A contractor. Class A contractor comes in, changes 2 shingles up on top of a roof. There's $100 right there. So the cheapest way to do it is do it right here, do it right now. Home improvements. Now, home improvements, good, that's fine. Don't go overboard. Don't try to sell a $150,000 ranch/Rambler that has a good kitchen to begin with, but it's a Formica countertop. Don't come in there and replace it with $45,000 worth of granite and think that you're going to get extra money in the long run to pay for the improvement that you did, because you're not, okay? I'll go back to the first line. Clean, 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 clean. Ship shape sells. Ship's shape, if you've got that Formica and it's in good shape and it's clean and all that kind of stuff, that's the best way to stay at that point. Staging. Staging's fantastic, because just like I said in the beginning, you want to make it so that when they walk into the house, they feel comfortable when they walk into the house. It smells good. Everything's fantastic here. And the staging part of it makes sense in some homes, because I want to give them a general idea of what this house would look like if they were getting ready to move in. And then they can see where a couch goes, or they can see where an entertainment center goes, and things such as that. As well as like up in the bathroom. What's it look like with the towels that are on that rod and around the sink have the different ornaments around there as well. Okay, now, this is the deal. We're getting ready right now to be on market, okay? Ready the day your house goes on market. Be ready the day your house goes on market. Don't be ready a week later, because those first few days are very, very important. That's when you're the new kid in town. People are coming over to look at your house, and that's when we want to be looking our best so that we can get those offers in early, okay? And beat those days on market predictions. Okay. Now it's time for me as the realtor to get to work. I'm going to schedule a photo shoot of the home with a professional photographer. Okay? In my case, I do that. That's my expense. That's nothing that doesn't play into your 10% or anything. And what ends up happening is I've got a good professional photographer, a couple of them that we work with. We know what the results are, so we'll take care of getting those pictures, getting those and getting them up into the multiple listing system. Okay? That's our next one. We're gonna take this information and put it into the multiple listing service. Okay? The multiple listing service is that network-centric internet portal that realtors use, and that'll feed to all the media sites. It'll go to Zillow, it'll go to Trulia, it'll go all over the place if I get it up into that MLS. I also do brochures. I like it when there's something sitting on the countertop when they come in, so that they can pick up one little document. Boom, it's got everything in there. Shows them where the boundaries are on outside, for instance. Gives them the square footage, what rooms, any information that I want to put in there that is that's germane to the property. Open houses. We can do open houses, but my experience with open houses, and I've set quite a few of them, is that normally the prospective buyer doesn't come through and buy the house at an open house. You have a lot of neighbors that come in, take a look around, see what your house looks like, and there's a lot of cookies that are eaten, a lot of coffee that's drank, but selling houses, maybe not so much. And another thing that we do is we like to take it and scour the area as far as the local neighborhood goes. We do a postcard campaign out there so that everybody knows that your house is for sale. That way they might have friends that they know that are looking for a house, and they would recommend that house. So that's a good way as far as advertising goes as well. Now, ba-dum, everything's good. House is clean, everything's repaired, the improvements are done, the realtor did their job the way that they're supposed to do it, it's up on MLS, bang, the prospective buyer walks in, they talk to the realtor and they go, I like this place, I want to make an offer, because we're in an offer now, okay? So they come to me with an offer. Now there's an important part of an offer called the earnest money deposit, which I'll get to in a moment. Now, in that offer, we're looking for things as far as negotiation goes, because it's up there at the top, negotiation and counteroffer. Closing costs. People can come to you, and especially a buyer's market, and say, hey, I'll buy your house, but I want you to pay 3% of my closing costs, okay? So if it's a $200,000 house, bang, that's $6,000 that you're gonna be putting toward them buying your house, and that's something that you've got to consider as far as what you end up with your net profit when you're done. So closing costs figure into that. Contingencies also figure into that because you've got financial contingencies, you've got home inspection contingencies. If you're in a rural area, not on public sewer and water, you're going to have well and septic inspections. You're going to have, and the buyer, a home contingency as far as the buyer's got to sell a house. That can play into it too. Now, with the buyer selling the house, selling their house type of thing, that's where me as a realtor, I've got to give you some good advice at that point. If they are in an area that, for instance, is days on market, 100 days on market, and they just want to close on your house in 45 days, okay? It doesn't match up. It doesn't make sense at that point. And I have to tell you, hey, the average amount of time on market where their house is selling is 100 days. I don't know if they'll be able to make closing. So that's something that you'd have to take into account before accepting this offer. Because if you accept this offer, guess what? Bang, your house is off the market at that point. People aren't coming and looking at your house anymore. So that's something you got to think about. As well as termites and woodborne insects. Okay, that plays into contingencies as well. Essentially, a contingency is a clause giving both parties the right to back out of the deal under certain circumstances that must be negotiated between the buyer and the seller. Contingencies can include details such as time frame. For instance, how long am I going to give them to be able to come in here and do a home inspection of the property? Or specific terms like the buyer within 21 days has to secure a 30-year conventional financing for 80% of the purchase price at an interest rate not to be higher than 4%. Any contingency clause should be clearly stated so that all parties understand what the terms are. This is the big deal. When you sit down and you look at the offer, you have to read it. And anything in there that you don't understand, have your realtor break it down for you. Any realtor that I know is more than willing to sit down with the client and explain it to them to the degree to where the client feels comfortable with it. And that's what our job really is. Okay, now, happy, joy, both parties have agreed, everybody's signed the offer, both sides have, we are now ratified. Okay, ratified's like a really, really good word. It means that we're going forward, okay? Home inspections are coming, all that stuff. But the only way that I do the ratified thing is if I get the earnest money deposit. Earnest money means that person that's buying your house is saying to you, I want to buy your house, but I want to buy your house with some contingencies on it, but I'm in good faith. I'm being earnest, okay? I'm in good faith. So I'm going to give you a check, actually not you a check, I'm going to give an escrow agent a check to hold on to, because if I don't meet my contingencies and I don't do my side of the deal as far as the buyer goes, that earnest money deposit could in fact be given to the seller at that point in lieu of them not doing what they were supposed to do in accordance with the contract, okay? At that point, the home inspection's scheduled, so that's coming in the next couple of weeks, but that's okay because we did our work beforehand when we were doing repairs and stuff, so we don't really need to worry about it. We got our screens out, the filters are changed, all that kind of stuff. Life is good, happy, and full of joy. Now, the buyer's lender will order an appraisal at that point. I'll get into that just a little bit more. VA has appraisals, FHA has appraisals, so on and so forth, and a survey. You want the survey because if you want the title company to issue title insurance, and I'll talk about that a little bit. The survey is required by most title companies to put out, to do title insurance. So, let's say that everything went fantastic, okay? We have no problems at all. And by the way, that's probably about half the transactions. Everything goes through just the way it's supposed to. So, your chances of success are pretty good. All contingencies are met. The appraisal is good, okay? And what I mean by good is the appraisal came back and the appraisal was at or slightly above what the actual offered price is, okay? Then we're going to head to closing. No, normally what happens if a deal falls apart? It falls apart because of home inspection, which is usually within the first 2 weeks to 15 days, or it falls out because of financing and the person was not able to get the financing that they needed for this transaction. And that usually happens at the 3 to 4 week range. So those are the two high parts where we could run into trouble at. And we'll see what they are we'll know as we go along. Okay, now everything went perfect. Next stop, we're going to closing. Whoop, whoop, pop the champagne. Here we go. You and the lender have met the terms of the contract. You and the buyer have met the terms of the contract. Everybody did everything that they're supposed to do and executed properly. The title office will present the title report. They go back about 40 years, taking a look at everything, every transaction that's ever happened with that house. They take a look to make sure that the survey lines up, that your boundaries are correct, all that type of information. They also have escrow accounts, and really, just escrow account. Don't get wrapped around the axle on that. An escrow account means that you're just putting money into a place where a referee or a third party is watching that money. Okay. They ensure that the buyer's finances are in order. They've been told by the lender of the buyer that the money's coming or is getting wired to them and where it's going to and all that type of stuff as far as the escrow account goes for this transaction. They also make payments as per the contract. Okay, you're leaving, you paid your HOA 3 months for the whole year. It's September, okay? There's 3 months left. So what ends up happening is that money's going to come back to you. Their money's going to kick in. So that's the type of thing that title office is doing for you. They're taking care of navigating through the financial superhighway as far as getting this transaction done. The title office will deliver the proceeds to you after the deed is recorded at the courthouse, okay? Only after the deed is recorded at the courthouse do we have an actual closing done deal on this house. Now, I think I put it up there. Let's see. Yeah, do not cancel your home insurance until you actually go online and you go into your bank website and you say, ooh, there's the $35,000 I'm expecting as far as proceeds go from this transaction. If it's in there, bang, at that point, it's time to go ahead and pull your home insurance off of there. But you don't want to do it beforehand, because if you did it a week beforehand because you're punctual and you're not a procrastinator and all that kind of stuff, well, good on you. But the reality of it is that the place caught on fire. Guess what? No sale to the new buyer, and you're sitting there with a foundation and you have nothing left over at that point. So you want to make sure that you maintain that insurance until it's not yours anymore. Okay, now, with all that said, you just had the best transaction in the world, and we're glad for you, and we hope that it goes that way. But here's my pitch. My team, the Green Team, we would love to sell your house if you live around our areas and the areas that I spoke about a moment ago. My promise to you is we will be honest. We do honest business. That's the only way we do it, okay? And give you outstanding service. Or we can terminate our relationship. Cut us loose, okay? My broker is comfortable with, if I have a client that is not happy with how something's going, this hasn't ever happened, but if a client was not happy and they come to me and they tell me they're not happy, maybe it's just that we need to part ways and have them go to another realtor, and that might work for them. So we're good with that. What we're really looking for is, I think if I do my part and I ask that you do your part, I'm sure that we can, I have demonstrated that we can achieve positive results. Okay, that's really it. Now, here's the Green Team. Take a look. They made me wear a suit that day. That's my lovely wife, Lynn. She's the other realtor of the family. She's actually a senior realtor, been a realtor longer than I have. I am a military relocation professional. I work for MacDoc Realty at 1809 William Street in Fredericksburg. And we'd love to get a phone call from you. There's our phone numbers right there. Or you can find us on Facebook at The Green Team, and there's the link. Or you can email my wife Lynn at lynngreenrealtor@gmail.com, or you can email me, aegisrealtor@gmail.com. The Aegis Realtor comes from, I'm a Navy veteran, and I used to teach Aegis weapon system down in Dahlgren, Virginia. With that, folks, it's been a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak to you, and I hope that we can do some business down the road. Have a great day. Folks, one other thing that I forgot to tell you in the video, and I hope you found our video helpful and informative, but you're going to find on the Green Team Facebook page, you'll find an actual copy of the buyer's steps to closing. It looks just like this, and I think that it'll help you. It's something that you can take a magnet, stick it up on the refrigerator, and it's almost like a checklist as you're going through the actual process of selling your home. So with that, have a great day, great weekend, and we'll see you later. Hope to sell your house.